This is Heather from Especially Paper, and I'm going to show you how to make a mistletoe garland from paper. So this picks up from the point where you've already cut all the pieces using either your Cricut Explore machine or your Silhouette machine. You can get the template at especiallypaper.com. It's available as a DXF file for Silhouette Studio Basic Edition or as a SVG to use in Cricut Design Space or the Designer Edition of Silhouette Studio. The first step is crafting paper beads. These are used as a spacer between the other pieces when you're threading the final garland. So I've cut 1/2 inch by 4 1/4 inch strips of scrapbook paper. So this is a light text weight paper that makes it really easy to roll. And I've used one that has a fine green pattern on it, but of course you can use anything. These won't really be visible in the final garland. So I'm rolling these around a large sewing needle. Make sure that the needle you're using is larger than the needle you're going to use to thread the final project. Once you reach the end of the strip of paper, just add a little glue to secure it. The template does include a file with the lines to cut these strips. Just set those up on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. The next step is making the white berry beads. So it's actually the same exact technique that we just used. It just has the berries along one edge. So start on the wider edge of the strip of berries. So you want to start with the big end. And again, don't forget to use your larger sewing needle. And then simply roll those berries from the large end down to the small end, and keep the bottom straight edge of the paper bead even. So it can be a little tedious to roll because you have those berries kind of in your way, but just kind of work around those. I folded mine back so that they were a little bit out of the way. And then just like the paper bead, add glue to the last bit of the strip to secure it. So you can see using that wide to more narrow strip kind of gives space for the berries to stick out from the bead at different points. So just pull those down from the center and that piece is done. So I like to use one set of berries for every 4 pieces of greenery that I put on the garland. But of course you can do that to whatever pattern you'd like. The next step is shaping and folding the greenery. So I've cut my greenery pieces from 2 different shades of green. They're pretty similar, so in the final piece you may not even realize it's 2 shades, but it does add a bit more dimension to the final project. So you're either using closed scissor blades the way I am here, or a bone folder. Apply pressure to add some curve to those leaves, or you can rub it along the edge of a table. So I'm using a box lead here just for ease of showing this to you. And this is actually my preferred way of doing it. I think it's a little bit easier and a little bit faster to run it over the edge of a table. Fold along the diagonal lines and then glue the tab to the opposite edge to form a sort of pyramid shape. You want to fold it so that the curve on the greenery is curling out. Okay, and that's it. So the next step is just threading it and putting it all together. So I really like to put together lots and lots of pieces and then thread a pretty wide swath. I feel like it goes faster that way. As I mentioned before, I'm using 4 of the greenery pieces for every 1 berry bead piece. And I'm setting one of the paper beads, the 1/2 inch paper beads, between each piece of greenery. You don't need a paper bead around the berries on either side of it because that already has the spacer built into the piece. I'm using a crochet thread here. I think that's a really nice weight. It's pretty light. It's easy enough to get a large sewing needle onto it for the threading, but it's still super sturdy, much sturdier than a regular sewing thread would be. So that's crochet thread. It's number 10 if you want to look for that. And here's a quick view of a portion of the completed garland. As always, you can get these templates in SVG and DXF format at especiallypaper.com.